Well, what's going on, Hope Community Church? I am Trevor Moody, and I'm joined by
Pastor Nathaniel Lyon.
And Kimmy Lyon.
And we're so excited to be here for the series recap where we just got finished with our series Relationship Goals.
Come on.
And man, what a awesome series. And so before we kind of get into it, we ended that with Ask Anything, what you guys did. And we have a lot of questions that we got to get through and to pop through. But first, I just want to know, as you have been talking about relationship goals and all that kind of stuff, how did you guys meet? What's kind of like the story there?
I mean, it's not a huge, crazy thing. We met in college, so we were college sweethearts. Nathaniel was a year ahead of me in college, so we met my freshman year, his sophomore year, but like we met because I was dating one of his friends first.
Okay.
That's how we actually initially met, and we're just like friends for a while, and then I obviously did not stay with that guy.
They did not date for very long.
Yeah, it wasn't very long. It
They
was just
dated for 4 years.
It was like a couple months. Yeah, it was nothing like serious or
This
anything.
is Anderson, right?
Yeah, Anderson University. Yeah, Raven Swore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was just that summer after
Yeah.
school. Me and one of my other friends were just trying to connect with people, hang out with people who knew were still in the area. Kimmy's family lived close by, 30 minutes away or something. And so we'd reach out to her just because we were trying to get a group together of people who we knew were still around in the summer. And the plans that we were making ended up not happening, but that just led to Kimmy and I just started texting from there. And there you go. Our first date, we went out to dinner at a little like local diner in Anderson. That's the Lemon Drop, classic little local diner. And then we watched Hot Rod, which my favorite movie. And
The romantic movie date.
Yep, that was the guys for me to ask her out was, oh my gosh, you've never seen Hot Rod? It's my favorite movie. So, but it just knew it was right pretty early. I mean, it was one of those like we watched the movie and we just stayed up talking till like 3 in the morning.
Hanging out, yeah.
After that, yeah, because we were young and college kids and we didn't have responsibilities. So.
We'd stay up till 4 in the morning.
right.
Like it was no big deal.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, insane.
Yeah. Yep. And I know people won't believe us, but like totally innocent, like literally.
Truly did just like stay.
That's
not just
up till 3.
Yeah.
Just talking after Hot Rod.
True. Yeah. The most romantic movie in
Yeah.
history.
Yeah, the hottest movie ever. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Truly innocent. We just talked for hours. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How long then? Because you were saying at that point when you guys first started texting, did you guys really know each other then still, or was it just when you guys started texting?
We were like acquaintance / friends at that point. So yeah.
Group, like we'd never hung out,
Sure,
but
sure.
like we would run around the same people and stuff. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we had been in the same group, several times. Yeah. Because again, like it was just it's not a big school. So there's groups of people that hang out and, my friend group just ended up hanging out with a lot of Kimmy's friends. There was another one of Kimmy's friends who dated another one of my friends for a while. And so the group's kind of, and then weirdly later after all that, another 2 of those friends got married too. But that was later. But it's funny. Yeah. So one of Kimmy's best friends from college married one of my best friends from college also. So those groups just kind of like started hanging out together.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, you guys answered a lot of questions during both of the services on Sunday. And so we got the bowl of many questions.
Yeah.
And
Hold on.
Yeah, freeze, wait.
Yeah, well, before you do that, like you're engaged now. So so why don't you tell us about your meet cute really quick?
Yeah, was there much? Yeah, what was the meet cute tab? Yeah,
the
just
bowl of many questions can wait.
just slow your roll there, Trevor.
Yeah. So we met off of a Christian dating app, and
Your fiance's name
my
is?
fiance's name is Emily.
Yeah.
She's amazing, and
And we like her too.
She's the
she's
best.
cool. She's super cool. And it was funny. We were talking about getting our first date rolling and stuff like that. And I remember she was like, "Oh, you do like photos? I need photos for like my cosmetology school. Can you like do photos for me. So like part of our first date was me doing photos for her.
Her hiring you.
Yeah. So like even if the date goes wrong, she has like
She got some nice pictures out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. What Trevor left out is before Trevor, she dated a graphic designer who made business cards for her.
business cards for her.
Right. Yeah. And then she had dated a web developer to build her website for her.
Or that. That's actually how she got everything up and
Yeah,
rolling.
right. She just was trolling the dating
Just a
websites for.
savvy businesswoman is what she is.
No, that's not true.
Just kidding.
And so we did some photos first, and then we went and got some pizza, which is just I'm a big pizza lover. We
Same.
still both love pizza.
Yeah.
We are slowly making a tradition of like once a week just getting pizza, just because we
It's a
love it.
great tradition.
Yeah.
We have the same tradition.
Let's go. And then after that, we went and played some pool, and then I like lost every game.
Oh.
I was not great. That wasn't
Dark.
because I was trying to let her win either.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
You're just
I
bad
just
at
was
it.
not doing well. But I'm getting better. The last time we played, I won one and lost one. So
Okay, so do you play a lot of pool then? Is this like a thing you guys do?
like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a fun little hobby.
Interesting.
So there's a bowling alley not far from her house where it's like $1 and you can just play pool.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
great. That's so funny. It's not that.
Hi, Dave. We're gonna go play some pool.
Okay. Well, I think I'm
Me
a lot
or
like
us play
Trevor.
pool?
Yeah, I think gonna be a lot like Trevor.
Horrible. I'm horrible at pool. Yeah.
I knew things were she was like, yeah, I really love playing pool, blah, blah. And so I was playing with her to know very quickly. She was like telling me about rules that I didn't even know was a thing about pool. So I was like, oh, you like love
You like playing pool.
Yeah, you love pool. Okay.
You know what you're doing. Okay.
Very different. But then afterwards, we ended up just doing some like I forget how we even got into it, but we just ended up just like hanging out and just like playing worship songs together.
Aww. Precious.
So it was very fun. And then for us after that, it was just like we kind of just kept talking nonstop day after day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, adorable.
Thank you for taking us on that journey.
You're
You can grab your bowl now.
my bowl of mini questions.
All right.
The bowl of
many
many
questions.
questions.
Are you gonna edit in a sound effect?
Bowl of mini questions.
Yeah.
And so for those who are wondering, does this bowl
Oh.
actually have many questions? There's an option.
Ooh.
There's a lot.
We don't edit the. I just want you guys to know we took out the questions that were not related to relationships. So again, we tried to just stick to relationships and marriage, stuff like that. Some of you asked some really great questions that were not related to the topic.
Yeah.
So save them. We'll do another Ask Anything. You can ask those questions. We're not afraid to answer your questions. We just had a theme we wanted to stick to. So we took those questions out if they weren't related to relationships, but we left all the other ones in, and this is truly random. So the only difference between this and Sunday is we've seen all of the questions,
We've seen all of them before.
but we don't know which ones we're going to pull. So we do know all of the questions that are in there, but we don't know what we're going to pull. It is truly random. And so take us. Sorry.
We good?
All right.
Yeah. Are you guys ready for the first question?
Go for it.
So ready.
At this point, I'm just moving them all about. Okay. How can you love your neighbor when he makes your life a living hell, no matter what I do? I'm about ready to sell my house and move, even though I've been there for 32 years in a house I built. I don't even want to pray for him anymore.
I'm surprised you left that one in. I guess it is about relationships.
It is
but
about
that-
relationships.
Okay. All right. I knew that was
Really intense
I wasn't
question.
expecting
That's a strongly
I
worded
wasn't
question.
expecting to get this one because I thought it was going to be out, but I guess it is related to relationships.
I guess so. Yeah, a neighbor relationship, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah.
Intense.
The first thing that I want to say again is I think it's impossible that we would be able to give you specific advice without knowing specific situations. So I just want to acknowledge that. We can speak generally, but we don't know. I don't know who this is. I don't know who your neighbor is. I don't know what the specific problems are. So it'd be hard for me to be like, here's what you do. Step 1, step 2, step 3. I guess I just want to say I'm really sorry. Neighbor relationships can be really wonderful, and they can be really challenging because it is literally your house. And so this is the place where you're going to try to seek solace and peace. And, then you run into challenges. So I'm really sorry. I guess just generally, I know you said you don't want to pray for them anymore. Yeah, I mean, that I will continue to fight for that. And I don't want it to be a pastoral, get me out of this question. I truly believe, specifically when it comes to forgiveness and conflict, I truly believe that praying for that person is crucial to moving forward. Because what happens when we get angry is we reach a point where we are not operating as good versions of ourselves because we're so angry. We're not even maybe our neighbor is the one who started the problem, but then we get so angry about it, we're not contributing positively. We are contributing now to the brokenness because of our anger. And I think prayer is something that can ground us in that. So, but all relationships, it takes two to tango. You cannot make your neighbor do things. All you can do is what you know that is the right thing to do. And so, again, I don't know what the issues are, I mean, if it's the kind of thing where you go to the city and you can pursue you can pursue action and just say, hey, look, you are in the wrong here. And I'm going to have to pull in people here who are going to be able to enforce it, that you're wrong. That can obviously damage relationships, but it seems like the relationship's already pretty damaged. Yeah. And I don't know really what else to say. I mean, trying to connect with them as a person, can you find a time to talk to them that's separate from whatever issues you're having and just talk to them about anything else and try to connect with them as people. But I don't know, Kimmy or Trevor, if you have anything to add, but
Yeah, like I said, it's hard to know fully what that circumstance is because that sounds like it could be so many different things. Like, is it where it's just hey, the yard things they put up is really annoying, or they're kind of being a real jerk about it and they're doing it all the time,
or is it noise
or
complaint?
a noise complaint, or is it
Your trash is always in my yard.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so I think yes, continue to fight for that praying for the other person. I think even when Jesus is saying that, I think Jesus is saying in a time where he knows that is a hard thing to do. And I think praying for your enemies that's always a hard thing to do. And so I don't think Jesus said it knowing that it was going to be this super easy thing, but it's a thing that will actually help us. And like you said, I think when we're angry in those situations, I think even something that's small that shouldn't have even caused us as a bigger issue anyways, becomes a way bigger issue.
Yes.
And so really, I think in a way, it's going to also just help you more.
Yeah.
How do you get through this? I think that aspect of it is going to help you so much more. And like you said, when it comes to the city aspect, there is a point where, hey, maybe this is something, but maybe depending on what's going on, maybe try to talk with them.
Yes. Well, yeah. And I'm going to assume that based on this card that's been done. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but I think that actually, and I don't want to spend the whole time on this, but I think that's a really good point what you said is sometimes when we hear Jesus' words that we're supposed to pray for are those who love our enemies and pray for those who persecute us, that consistently is the most challenging thing that I preach about. Every time I preach about that, somebody comes to me and says, I can't do it. It's impossible or whatever. And I think, you were saying this kind of subtly, but I just wanted to point it out. When we do that, we're implying that we believe Jesus doesn't understand. We're saying to Jesus, Jesus, you just don't get me, or you don't know what it's like to have a hard relationship, Jesus. You don't know what it's like to have an enemy. You don't know what it's like to be persecuted, Jesus. Which all of us, I think, can acknowledge. He does more than us, actually, probably. Not probably, definitely more than us. And so I think that because of who is speaking it, any excuse that we would make about it, to me, is moot. And that doesn't make it easy, but it does continue to make Jesus' words true. And Jesus' challenge to us true. And so I think that's a really important thing. I know we're not trying to say Jesus is wrong or he doesn't get it, but that's subtly what we're saying when we say that teaching of Jesus is not good or not working, we're implying that he doesn't get it, or he doesn't understand what it's like to have an enemy, which is just not true. So,
All right. Alrighty. Next question. If the Bible says everyone is deserving of love, why are there certain stipulations on who the Bible says we are able to love?
yeah. Okay. If the Bible says that everyone is, and I see they added being in, they drew a little line tab. Yeah. If the Bible says that everyone is deserving of being in love, why are there certain stipulations on who the Bible says we are able to love? Do you want to go first, or
Sure.
do you want to look at it?
Yeah.
I know we've read it twice, but sometimes it helps to look at it.
Actually, just look at it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, being in love. Actually, I don't think the Bible actually talks about God saying we all deserve to be in love. I don't think that's actually something God. I think the Bible has a lot to say about us being loved by God, and I do believe we are all. I don't know if we deserve God's love, but God gives it to us intentionally or unconditionally.
Yeah.
And
intentionally.
But I meant to say unconditionally.
Yeah.
So yes, I guess I would argue we are not deserving of his love, but he gives it to us anyway. But I don't believe there's anywhere in the Bible that it talks about us humans deserve to be in love with anybody, I guess I could be wrong. I don't know the whole Bible. I'm not a Bible expert, but I've never, the only time I've heard, someone being in love, it's like a certain Bible character is in love with another Bible character, right? It's never God saying like, yeah, you deserve to be in love with that person. So I guess those are things that come to mind with that is like, I don't think that's a goal a goal or desire God actually has for us is to be in love.
It's not a promise that God
It's
makes.
not a promise. That's not something he wants or hopes for us, I think.
Yeah, I think, and we talked about this some in the series. That's some of the things that I push back about. This actually came up in a different question, I think, this weekend about finding, how do you know if somebody's right for you? And it kind of hits this. The idea that like we're all worthy of being in love is a very cultural idea, because culture is who tells us that if you're single, you're less than. And the church honestly has reinforced that in some really negative ways, I think. And there's a lot of Christians, I think, who believe, we built the church around marriage, which is, marriage is a beautiful thing. I'm not saying marriage is bad or wrong. Would never say that. But we built church in a way that teaches people that if you are single, that it's bad, or something's wrong with you, or you're broken, or that person's out there. But that is actually something I believe we've inherited from culture, not from Scripture. And so I just want to acknowledge that. I'll say it again. I believe that it's a heresy to believe that we all have to be married, right? Like to say like this person out there will complete me, like Tom Cruise says, is heretical, because the only person that can complete you is the person of Jesus Christ. And I think that's really important. Culture continues to tell us, and the church, again, we were just talking about this before the podcast, like how do we, I was talking with Pastor Cheryl about this earlier this week, like how do we make space for people that are single? Because the church also is built, a lot of the world is built for couples, and so it can be really ostracizing, and so we got to figure that out. But scripturally, that's just like not true, that we are promised being in love. And again, I always point back to, if you think about Christianity, the New Testament, the two people that had the greatest influence, basically the people who we look to, 1 and 2, for like who influenced most greatly the Christian faith. The top two are Jesus and Paul, and neither of them were married. Neither one. Well, Paul, some people argue about that, but to our knowledge, Jesus and Paul, neither of them were married. And no matter what Dan Brown says, who's the author of the Da Vinci Code, Jesus was not married. Paul, as far as we know, not married. And in these, Paul even goes so far and says, like, hey, if you don't need to be married, then don't. Then don't be married. And somehow we have chosen selectively to ignore passages like that and forget this truth, to say, hey, everybody has this person out there that God has called them to. And I think not only do I believe you can live a full life as a single person, I also believe that until you can get comfortable being the person that God has created you to be before you get into a relationship, you'll struggle in your relationships. I think if you are counting on another person to turn you into something, that's a codependency that person was not meant to bear. You're putting a weight on that other person that they were not created to bear. So, as far as being in love, that's the first part. The second part of like stipulations on who you can love. I mean, that can go a lot of different directions. I'm assuming that this person is talking about LGBT relationships. But, you know, it could also go, we had a lot of questions about being unequally yoked, stuff like that. And I am a believer, the way that I think about that, and you guys jump in, is, again, I talk a lot about how I think Jesus, the way Jesus calls us to live, is for us. And so it's not rules to follow to punish us or make life horrible for us. It is a pathway to true freedom for us. And so things like unequally yoked, right? Like Jesus is challenging us with that, not because he wants us to be miserable, but because he wants us to have the most life possible. And so I think that's it. This is the same reason that there are boundaries on anything, is that God wants the best for us. Same thing about holding grudges. The same thing about praying for your enemies. It's all that stuff. There's boundaries set because Jesus wants us to create the pathway to the most joy, most life, most freedom. And so I believe that following the guidelines in Scripture is for us. But again, if you believe, like if you fall in love with somebody who's unequally yoked, or again, if you're struggling with same-sex attraction, and what you believe is, I can't be the person God made me to be unless I find this person, that is already broken. That's already broken. And that's true whether you're gay or straight or whatever. If you believe I can't be who God made me to be until I find this person, that will always create a codependency and striving that won't lead to your own flourishing. So, yeah, any final thoughts about that? Yeah, I crushed it. You're right.
Yeah, I think nothing. The only thing I would add is, yeah, when it comes to why stipulations, I think we have to recognize that, like you said, right, that, hey, if God is telling us that this is the way towards a good marriage, or like a good partner, like who to look for and be happy with, like there's a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm sure after all of different relationships that God has even seen on this earth, I'm pretty sure he has a great knowledge of like what works really well.
Come on.
And so why some stipulations? Well, I'm going to trust the God who knows all of us and all of us deeply, to know how we should also look for us so we can work really well together in a marriage.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, I think so much we have seen that like you are missing something if you are single or you are keeping yourself for God. But I think, yeah, I don't think anybody would say Jesus was wrong because he was
Single.
single.
He couldn't be who he was supposed to be. Or Paul, right? Like, yeah.
But yet, it was those people who were definitely Paul. Like Paul was able to give his full self to the early church and to the gospel because he didn't have to worry about a family. He didn't have to worry about a wife and all that kind of stuff and trying to help in that relationship there. He could give himself fully to the churches and fully for the gospel and give himself to it. And so I think often we think you're missing something if you are not doing this. But I think actually you are opening yourself up to something even way different that a married person wouldn't be able to do in the same capacity.
Yeah.
And so I think it's you are like, the whole missing thing is, I think, dumb in a way, because like it's just, they're just different. you're able to do very different things in a way, and one is not better than the other.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, and it's interesting because we're, Kimmy and I are married, you're engaged, so I get that the people are like, well, he's agreed to say, which is fine. I receive that. But there's a truth to that. When Kimmy and I had kids, I remember talking to a mentor because we were really struggling in student ministry after we had kids, trying to figure out, like, how does this look? And I had a mentor look at me and just said, I was like, how do you continue to be successful after you like have a family? And he looked back at me and goes, you're not going to like my answer. And I was like, okay. And he goes, you just have to change what winning is. He just says, like, you're right. You can't do what you used to do. Your life is different now. You can't do what you used to do. And that is this tangible expression of what Paul's saying is like, because now I'm a dad, I have limitations in what I can do. And there's other things that have been open to me, but yeah. So, and I just want to finish with what Kimmy started with is there's a difference between deserving of being in love and worthy of being loved. Like worthy of love is different than worthy of being in love. Those are different things. And every person is deserving and worthy of love. And that is consistently enforced throughout Scripture.
Even though I said I don't think we actually are deserving of love.
Well, Christ has made us deserving of love. Yeah. Through Christ, we are deserving
Through
of love.
Christ, yeah. On our own, we ain't got a shot.
Fair theological clarification there.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Heck yeah. All right. Okay.
He's trying to not look. Yeah. No, Primrose. Dang it. I blew it. All right.
Oh,
Primrose Everdeen, right? Sorry. That's what you look like.
The Hunger Games.
My mind went to the Goblet of Fire for some.
Oh, that was it. Yeah, that was it. Yep.
Harry Potter.
Yep.
You're having a Goblet of Fire.
My gosh.
What is your biggest blessing to one another?
Ah, what a sweet question. Oh my gosh. You get to go first, Nathaniel.
I want to hear your answer first before I tell you mine.
The biggest blessing. This is going to take me time to answer, and people will be like, wow, you can't think of one thing.
Yikes.
It's more just about, of all the things, what would I pick?
Oh.
I don't know. I think Kimmy mentioned this in one of the questions. I don't remember what the question was yesterday, but it's true for me too. I think the biggest blessing that Kimmy gives to me is that is the safety, right? It's the comfortability. As a pastor, I find myself always aware all the time of how I present myself and what I'm speaking and saying and how are people experiencing me, and I'm trying to read people, and I do that so much all the time everywhere I go, and it's really nice to be able to be at home and not have to do that, right? To just be able to not be concerned with saying a dumb thing or being weird or saying something offensive or whatever, which implies I say a lot of offensive things. I think it's more that just people will be offended by anything. And so it's so wonderful to be able to come home and not have to do that and just get to be in an environment where I can just like be free. Just cliche, but like be free to be myself. Kimmy gives me the freedom to be myself. But that's it. Like there's no pretense or pretending. I don't have to put a face on. I don't have to pretend I like things or don't like things. Yeah, if I'm doing something that I hate because I love her, I want her to know how much I hate it.
And you had the freedom to do that.
No.
I let her know.
No.
She'll
She
know.
knows. I'm doing this because I care about you, not because I like it. No, but
I just need you to know.
yeah, but that's it. It's just that freedom. It's easy. Being around Kimmy is so easy. It's so easy.
Yeah, actually, that is also my answer because that actually leads to so many other blessings for me. Like that safety then leads to like, I can trust Nathaniel and Nathaniel can trust me. Like I trust him with everything. And that leads to like, so then I am not scared to talk about stuff with him. I'm not scared to share stuff with him. And I can just be myself around him. I don't have to like there's no act, there's no pretense, there's no nothing. Like, he gets the full unserious version of me that exists that a lot of people don't. um, and yeah, that safety, it also, yeah, it just leads to these other things that are a huge benefit to our relationship. So yeah, just the safety, or just, I always think of it like also like a safe harbor, right? Just like a safe place, like to land, like home, like Nathaniel's home. And that just makes so many other things in our relationship so much easier to navigate and handle and go through because of that foundation of safety that we have. So yeah.
Yeah, and trust.
And
Right?
trust, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot, I listen to lots of podcasts and stuff, and there's one podcast I listen to, and they, talk about, it comes up, marriage comes up, and like, they don't let each other like look at their phones or, like, I don't know, like, I don't look at Kimmy's phone very much, but like, it wouldn't be a big deal for me to look at her texts or whatever, because like, who cares? She doesn't.
I don't talk to anybody, so I don't know why.
And she see it. She can't even get on my phone. She knows. She's got all my passwords. She knows how to get in stuff.
We have the same password
And we
for everything.
Yeah.
we like track each other on Google, but it's not because we're like concerned about where people are going. It's literally because I have a constant fear that Kimmy's on the side of the road in a ditch somewhere, and
I just want to make sure he got where he's going.
want to make sure that she's there.
And Kimmy's like trying to figure things out, like make sure everything's good, and you're like,
Or if it's like, if it is like taking him longer, be like, is he okay? Like, where is he?
Yeah.
Or like, oh, he had to stop somewhere. Okay.
Yeah. Every time, Kimmy is getting our boys ready for church, and she's running late, understandably, because she's got to get ready and get our kids to church. And so I'm standing up there in the front row. Service is happening, and Kimmy's not in there. And I'm like looking at my phone. It's like, where's she at? Oh, good. It's in the parking lot. She's just checking the kids in. But like, we just have that. I'm never worried about any of that stuff. And there's just so much trust. It's easy and it's simple. And some of it is because we talk about it when there is, tough stuff. But that's part of the safety too, is when it's hard, we can talk about something. It's that for sure.
you guys love each other.
We do a lot.
Yeah.
Y'all are in love.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah.
Pizza
Gosh, I hope people watch this just to see the way Trevor is
Yeah.
just
It's
trying.
so much more fun.
It is. It's
much
a
more
nice
fun.
little
It's just
flirt.
fun.
The way he's just pulling
Like,
these
like,
questions out of the bowl. It's just great.
how to help with anger and support my partner after going through a traumatic situation has affected both of us. How to help with anger and support.
So this one I will talk generally, but please, this person, I think, just set up a meeting with us. Reach out, please, because again, there's only so much help that we can give in generalities. There's probably just some specific conversations that need to
A
happen.
lot more nuance.
Or again, you can reach out to us, or again, like counseling. I'm just a huge believer of counseling, so I hope,
Especially with trauma.
Well,
Yeah.
because I'm not a counselor. I'm a
Right,
pastor,
yeah.
and I can sit and listen and pray, and we can seek the Spirit of God together. But there are even wonderful Christian counselors who are trained to help with a biblical lens walk you through trauma in a way that I'm not trained to do. So just want to acknowledge that. Generally, I think the first thing that we got to get to is, are you angry at each other, or are you angry about what's happened? Because it impacts the relationship either way, but they are different. Like, is this a traumatic experience causes us to be angry with each other because there's been trust broken? Or is it together we've gone through this horrible thing and we have a lot of anger about it, and it's causing tension in our marriage, but we're not upset with each other. We're just angry
At this thing that happened. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's the first thing that I'd want to know, because you just tackle it a little differently. If you're angry at each other, I don't know. I want to be a broken record, I know, but it always starts with prayer. It does, and I know that feels so not enough sometimes for people, but it always starts there. It always starts there, because The hardest times of my life, I know this is cliche, I'm a pastor, but the hardest times of my life, I could not have done without prayer. And God's promises that in those horrible times, He sits with us in it is real. And I've shared with people that the hardest seasons of my life, I never want to go back to them, but coming through them, I now sometimes talk to God and tell Him that I miss how close we were when life was horrible. I miss how close I was to God. And so I think that's really important. Like I know that doesn't feel like enough, and I'm so sorry, but like it has to start there because God will sit with you in it. And I guess I just want to say it will be hard whether you pray about it or not. But if you don't commit yourself to prayer, you won't be able to do it. That's what I believe. Like it's impossible to get through without prayer. So it starts there. And God will meet you there. God will meet you in it. And I think then whether you're angry with each other or about the situation, the first process is to really get to the bottom of what is causing you to be so angry. Get to the bottom of it, because sometimes I think we get really angry without even really determining why we're upset. And so we lash out about things. The way this happens in church work is like, things are changing in different, even in our bucket, we had some questions about hymns, and hey, ask that question on another day. I'll answer for you. But, for me personally, sometimes I wonder if it's not even really about the songs. It's about this, the church that I used to know is different. It's not what it used to be. I'm losing this thing that I used to know. And anyway, I know this is a traumatic thing, and so maybe it's easier to assess, but sometimes trauma makes it harder to assess what's actually causing pain. And so the first thing you have to do is in prayer, wrestle with, it's search me, O God, know my heart, and it's trying to determine what is causing this reaction within me. What's making me so angry, and why does that make me so angry? And I guess I would start there without knowing specifics. I don't know how much further I can get, but start with prayer and start determining like what's causing this reaction within me, and see if we can get to the bottom of it. And if it's a trauma that you have collectively experienced, I think the big thing is just keep it out in front of you. Like both of you are carrying anger, but go through it together instead of isolating yourselves, right? Like sometimes what happens is like you hear this story a lot about, a couple that's gone through something traumatic, and instead of leaning on each other, they isolate from each other, and then they move further apart and both of their lives collapse. And, instead, if it's just, hey, we went through a trauma together, then stick together going through it. If you're angry at each other, that's more complicated. But I don't know. I don't know that I can get any more than that.
Yeah. 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 I think you hit it then. Yeah. Did you have anything that you wanted to add?
No.
In modern society, is there a place in our church relationships for single males?
I'm not sure exactly what he's trained. I'm assuming this is a man. I guess there could be a woman who's like, hey, what? Can we take care of the single guys?
What about the single
I
guys?
want to take care of the single guys. I'm assuming a man has written this question. I don't know if what he's asking about is, hey, I'm a single guy, where can I meet some ladies? Or if he's asking, hey, I'm a single guy, how do I fit into the church? I'm not really sure.
Right.
Which gets two different directions.
Those are
Yeah.
very different questions. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I've talked a lot. Does anybody else have any?
I'm gonna take this question as like leaning towards like as a single person,
Yeah.
is there space for me
in
the church?
Okay.
And I and we've already talked about this. Absolutely yes. And again, the church has not done a great job at making single people feel like they belong, and that's a problem. But I would say like your singleness doesn't disqualify you from like getting connected, getting involved. There's absolutely a place in church for you. There's absolutely a place for you here at our church for you. Um, and I know like singleness can be really hard and it can be a real struggle for people. And I completely understand that. But I just want to say like, it does not have to be something though that like sets you apart or makes you feel set apart or feel like you can't get involved in the things you want to be involved in. So yeah, there's any single person, there's absolutely a place for you here and you absolutely belong and we want you here.
Yeah.
We need that perspective just as much as anyone else's perspective on what it's like to just like be a single person. Yeah, so that's my response.
I think you can learn deep. I don't know. There's a theologian that I have listened to about this, and he's really passionate about relationships and stuff. And one of the things he talks about is how in our modern society, we don't know how to have intimacy without sexual relationships. And we have lost the ability to have an intimate relationship that's not a physical one. And how tragic that is. And scripture actually has lots of examples about relationships that are very deep and true that are not physical relationships.
Or even romantic.
Or romantic and all, yeah. And so I think for single people too, it's again rebuking what culture tells us about intimacy, and you can find deep relationships. I hope the church is that. The thing that I was thinking of, Kimmy, well, you would know, Trevor too, but there was a woman in the church that I used to work at in Ohio. Her name was Barb, and Barb was her, yeah, me too. Her story was just she had a family member who was chronically ill when she was a young woman, and she spent much of her time that she would be out dating, taking care of family. And so she got through that long season, and that part of her life was kind of over. And so she had lived her life, never married. And, you know, I never really talked deep with her about it. I'm sure that she had times where that was really hard. But I will tell you, Barb, I mean, an elder at the church, one of the most beloved members of the church, one of our key middle school volunteers.
Oh my gosh, she was so
An
amazing.
incredible middle school volunteer who just loved those girls and was constantly, I mean, she remembered birthdays. She was always showing up with birthday presents and writing notes and just beloved, and still is somebody who thinks of, I mean, she's
still that person.
just like a year ago,
Yeah.
she had like sent us a note in the mail,
Yeah.
just like to care for us.
Yeah.
Just like
She is still that person. Yes.
And I don't know. I think of her often as just like living a really full, wonderful, beautiful, healthy life as a single person.
Yeah.
And I totally think it's possible. And again, I'm sure if she was here, she would be mortified that we made her speak on camera first. But then I'm sure she's got stories of how that was hard for her and challenging in different seasons. But I also think she would tell you that God has been really good to her and been really faithful in her life. And so I don't know. I think about that. I think our church could do better. I don't know if you're an older person or a younger person, but shameless plug, Trevor has just recently started a young adults ministry here at our church.
Yeah.
That is true for young couples or young single people, and I think there's a mix of both. Okay, so there's young couples and young singles who come to this group on Sunday nights. Shameless plug. So if you're
6:30.
it's under 30, right?
Yes.
If you're under 30,
29.
if you're under 30 but
Okay.
out of high school,
Yep.
you can come be part of that. So if that's you, a writer, check that out. That's a great place for you to get plugged in. But again, there are no stipulations in serving at our church. None of the requirements of serving at our church have anything to do with your relationship status. And none of the groups outside of the marriage course have anything to do with your marital status to sign up or be a part of it, to get involved, to get plugged in. And so I would just say the same, whether you're single or married, getting involved at our church is the same process. Serving, joining groups, signing up for Bible studies, all those things are out there. So that's what I'd say. But I want you to know, I just want to acknowledge to you, like, you are right. The church has done a poor job of making space for single people and helping them feel seen and known. And I just want to acknowledge that. And we know that. And we have been talking about it. And so thank you for your question, because we want to show up for you. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
I have no idea how long we've been going to.
No idea. We had a timer on my
Yeah.
Now it's a screensaver. Yeah.
Hit screensaver, and then went
Yeah.
down.
how do you get past the roommate phase when communication is weak and finances are tight?
First, I just want you to know I don't think you're alone. This kind of question is one of my big reasons for wanting to do series like this, because I have been grieved because I think a lot of marriages in our churches are roommates. And I'm very grieved for that. And so I don't know if it makes you feel better or worse, but I don't think you're the only person who's experiencing this. And maybe that makes you feel worse, but hopefully it makes you. I think sometimes what the devil does is he tells us that everybody's got to figure it out except for us. I just want you to know a lot of people I think are in a similar place as you. So I want to start with that. I think getting past the roommate phase goes back to like the love languages thing. I think one of the best ways to get out of the love languages is that. I think maybe one of the most common reasons we find ourselves in the roommate phase is because we're not loving each other well in ways that we understand. The roommate phase, I think, comes because we're trying to love each other in ways that the other person is not experiencing fully. There's lots of different reasons. I don't know your story, but to me, the roommate phase often happens where it's not that we're being horrible to each other. Now, we're not being jerks to each other. We're not, screaming and yelling. We just are not connecting with each other. And that to me is two people are trying. They're really trying, but they're just missing each other. And I think that's where love languages can really be a huge thing, where it's maybe you take the assessment. You can find them online or in the book. You can take the assessment and figure out what your love languages are. Maybe it's just, hey, I've been married to you for 20 years and I think I know what your love languages are. And it's just trying to act positively in that way, right? Just try to get the ball rolling in that way. How can I show love to my spouse? If I think my spouse is acts of service, how do I just notice ways that I can serve her? If it's gifts, again, I know they're saying finances are tight, but I think, again, there's a lie that says, like, hey, if you want to get a roommate, you need to go on a romantic getaway or something, which, don't get me wrong, romantic getaways are awesome. But if you can, that sounds great. But that's not the only way to connect with each other. And there's ways you can do that for free. So, like, again, gifts, it's not about how much money you spend. It's the idea of, like, hey, I was thinking of you, and I thought you might appreciate this. Or words of affirmation, like, as hard as it can be, it's just verbalizing your appreciation for each other. One of the things, seriously, and maybe Kimmy will fight back against this, but one of the crossovers for us is Kimmy is a gifts person. I'm a words of affirmation person, and a tool makes it sound gross, but a tool that we've used in our marriage a lot because it worked for both of us is just like writing notes. Because for her, it's experienced as this gift, like, you thought of me and got me a card while I was out. But for me, it's the words of affirmation that I'm like really longing and needing. And so it's just things like that. And maybe your spouse is a words of affirmation, but you struggle to speak it. Well, write it down in a note. And then your partner can keep it forever. So I don't know. It's not a miracle, it's not a silver bullet, but I think learning those love languages things can be a real game changer. Because the roommate says, we want to make this work. We're just stuck.
Yeah, the thing I was thinking of is like finding more time to spend with one another, whether it's just going for a walk or trying to spend, time together in the evening at the end of the day, or try to be like, hey, can we just make it a point we eat dinner at the table together once a week. I think if you can find a way to just spend a little bit more time with each other, that can lead to just talk about your day and, catching up, and then that can lead to feeling a little more connected, and that can lead to a little bit more communication. And I think if you can just be a little intentional in the way that you spend time, just a little bit more time with each other, I think that can lead to a lot of things. And then you feel less like a roommate and oh, right, you're my partner. So That I guess in like a practical sense, that's where my brain went, because I know like communication can be really hard for people. You want to be like, well, just talk about it, but like that's not easy for a lot of people. That's actually a really hard thing, which I do think at some point trying to just talk about where you're at, how you're experiencing things, what you're feeling, both people I think deserve the opportunity to do that, and that should happen. But if communication feels kind of impossible right now, I would say, well, then maybe just try to, again, go on a walk. These are free things, like go on a walk or go to the park. I know it's like winter still, so it's maybe these are not great things. Or again, just like
Eat dinner together.
eat dinner together, like make dinner together, eat dinner together, watch a movie or a show, or just like sit on the couch for like a little while together at the end of the day. Um, I think those little things can actually go a long way, especially if it becomes just something that you're intentionally doing over and over and over. So
Yeah, it takes choosing it, but some of them can be small things that you just build over time.
Yeah. So ain't so much I can add to that. My roommate's a cat right now.
Yeah, me so.
oh, miso.
Wait, you think probably one more? Again, I have no concept of time, but
We have about 20 minutes.
okay.
Not too bad. We're doing great. Okay, great.
All right. Cool. We're gonna
I looked at my watch, or not my watch, my watch today. My phone earlier in the very beginning.
Okay.
and it's-
Oh, good. Okay.
Great. All right. Cool.
What scared you most as a pastor and pastor's wife?
What scares us most?
Yeah.
That is an interesting question.
I don't even know.
It's like
I'm just thinking about it in the sense maybe of like, is there an aspect of being a pastor and pastor's wife that can be scary for a marriage
As it relates to our marriage.
as it relates to your marriage?
Okay, that's a good way to frame it.
Yeah. Or maybe for you, I mean, going into knowing you're marrying a pastor, was there anything scary going into that?
I like the way you framed this a lot better than the way the question's asked.
But Ryder, we love you.
Well, yes, no, and I appreciate the heart behind this question. This feels very much like a check-in question, which I really appreciate. That's very loving and kind. Yeah.
Because my first thought was, what scares you the most? Spiders. No.
I know. I was like, I mean, we are just like regular people that are scared of like a lot of the same things everyone else is scared about.
Basement hobos.
Basement hobos.
What was his name?
You didn't have a name.
He didn't have a name? Okay. I thought he had a name.
No. No name. He didn't have a name. And that's what we call a callback.
Yeah.
For all of our loyal listeners,
You'll know or you won't know.
Either you know or
shout out to John Trick.
John Trick. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. Well, no. So in the context of like me being hesitant to like marry Nathaniel, because I knew he was very honest and upfront. Like when we were dating, he's like, hey, I do believe I've been called into ministry, and so that is what I'm pursuing, like for my job. I plan on doing that. And he let me know that very early on in our relationship, which was great. And so, and for me personally, that wasn't like a huge deal. My dad was a pastor for my whole growing up. So I was I already knew what it was like to be the pastor's family. So, and obviously it's different when like it's your dad versus like your husband. That's different. But so I didn't have any hesitancy there. That wasn't like a thing for me. And in regards to our marriage, thankfully it hasn't really affected our marriage, I would say. Ministry is complicated because it's more than a job, but it's also his job. So So it's complicated and like a lot of layers and stuff, but for me, he's just Nathaniel. Nathaniel's not my pastor. And um so like when I see him, I married Nathaniel. I didn't marry, you know, hey, Pastor Nathaniel, right? Yeah, right. So in regards to our marriage, really sometimes just to be completely honest, like church stuff can be hard. Ministry things can be really hard. But we've very much just been on the same team though. Like I'm never like on my own figuring those things out. Like, we're always very intentional to be on the same page about that kind of stuff because this is actually more important than the ministry that we do, to be perfectly honest, at least in my brain.
No, it is.
He comes before anything I'm gonna do here, to be completely honest, and vice versa. So, but yeah, like church stuff can be hard, but thankfully that hasn't affected our marriage. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think scare. I keep putting on the word scares.
Scary, yeah.
Yeah, I think to Kimmy's point, one of the things I get anxious about or scared for is because I'm so committed to her and my family that, sometimes I feel like I'm not doing my job well enough because I'm like, I don't know, I would blow this off to like make sure that I'm taking care of my family, which feels weird. I think past generations of pastors wouldn't say that.
And they also didn't function that way.
Yeah, they
so
didn't function that way, which I think was really hard. They did put the ministry before
did sacrifice their families, yeah.
Which again, I think to Paul's credit of like, hey, if you don't need to be married, don't, because then you have different responsibilities. The subtext of that is, if you're married, your family should be your top priority. Like that's anyway. So I think that I get scared about that some, but Kim and I have talked about our unity in it and how we both have to be in it because it is. I love the way you said that. It's funny, we talk about this a lot, but I don't know that you've ever said those words exactly. Of it's a job, but it's more than a job. Because it is, because it's all of our relationships and it's our community and it's where we spend our time on the weekends and all that. But it also is my job. But we've talked a lot about like, hey, if you're out, I'm out, right? Like if it ever reaches a place where one of us says, I can't do ministry anymore, we're both out. And because it's going to be, we have to be united in it. So anyway, I think the scariness of just like, yeah, am I going to let the church down because I am, am I not going to meet people's expectations? I think also we talk a lot, both of us being pastors' kids. I think one of the scariest things for us is just the way that being pastors' kids impacts our kids. I think we have some scariness for them. We know just the subtle pressure that gets put on them and expectations that people have of them and how they behave and who they are and how they operate. And there's just a subtle pressure all the time as a pastor's kid to be a thing. And I don't know, that's scary to me sometimes. And I don't want my kids to not love the church because they were pastor's kids, which Kim and I are pretty open about. We both have a complicated relationship with church sometimes because we're pastor's kids. So I don't know. That's how I'd answer it.
Good. In your busy daily activities, how do you and your family live like Jesus?
Yeah, that's so funny because we know who this is.
Yeah, this person came to talk to us and we answered it.
And we got to talk to them yesterday at our book group. What we had so funny because we literally just talked about it with the person who asked this question last night at our house. So for me personally, like there's just like things have in place in my just daily, weekly routine now that help just kind of keep my attention, or just like help me reorient my attention back to Jesus, from time to time. I know it's so funny because it's like what's the question? I'm sorry. Just how is it phrased? Yeah. how do you and your family live like Jesus? I honestly don't know if I live like Jesus very much. I probably should have said that when we were talking to her last night. I don't know how good of a job I'm doing at that. Like, I don't know. It's hard for me to gauge that. um, I I guess I want to live like Jesus. I guess that's the thing. I do want to live like Jesus. Um, and so that is something that is in the back of my mind quite a bit. And so that does like sometimes affect the decisions I make. Not always, but that does affect the choices and decisions I make sometimes. And more often than not. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think for me, yeah, it's just like I try to check my posture. I think this is actually a posture question, not like what do you do? Man, I'm answering it so better this time than I did last night.
I thought you did beautifully last night too.
But for me, I think this is really, I think my posture, our posture, and our posture as a family is actually really more important than what we're actually doing, the things we're actually doing to like be like Jesus and live like Jesus. Because we can do all kinds of stuff, but if my heart isn't truly wanting to seek Jesus and live like Jesus, then like some of those things can kind of fall flat, right? So, but I mean, I don't know how great of a job at it as a family. We do try to tell our boys often, like, we care so much more about who they are and who they are becoming, and we believe that Jesus cares way more about who they are and who they're becoming than like anything that they can do, right? We don't talk about that all the time, but there have been moments where we have said those things to our boys, and I hope that they grow up to like want to live like Jesus. But like, as in like things we do, like also there aren't many things we do as a family.
We've tried lots of different things. It's hard. Every parent will tell you just building those things is hard, and it's hard for us too. So we'll keep trying things. Yeah. And my response was really just about like the practicing the way of Jesus, right? Part of that, why that's part of our church, is because that was really important to me. And I was like, hey guys, I think this could be a good thing for church. And yeah, so being with Jesus, becoming like Jesus, doing Jesus did. Kimmy said it really beautifully. It's just this idea of, I love practicing the way because it's about who you're becoming. And that's really what matters to me. Living like Jesus is about creating habits and practices that help me become a kind of person, and it's not about, reading the Bible to read the Bible. It's about reading the Bible because I want to become a kind of person. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I can. And I think we got time for one last question.
One last one. Make it a good one.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. Do you guys want
Just handpick the last one.
to?
I mean, you're closer. Why don't you go for me? Man?
Oh, I just meant, can I look at them and just,
Oh, sure.
Oh, we just like vet
I
one.
just like pick the one that I
We
want.
vet the last one. That's
Sure.
fine. I think that's fine. Oh wow, first one right out the gate.
I think that could be it. How do you feel about that one?
I think this is a good one. It's a tough one, but I think that might be a good one.
Okay. You just want to do it?
Okay.
Or this one?
Oh. I mean, I don't think there is an answer for that one.
That one is, what's the best celebrity marriage?
And I don't know if I could give you one. I don't know if I could tell you.
There's a level where you can see on the outside. There's a level where you can see.
Yeah.
I said Mr. Feeney and his wife.
Oh, that is the one. That is it.
You guys, Mr. Feeney and Dean Bolender from Boy Meets World are married in real life, and they have been married for like 50 years.
They're very precious.
Yes, they are very cute.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's it.
We have time for two.
there.
We'll do this one.
You're welcome. Okay. Sometimes my husband and I go months without intimacy. It's hard to feel the connection. Is that bad?
We picked it, and now we're like, I don't know.
No,
But I think it's important.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be hard to answer.
no, I think this is actually something that's actually really common. I
Yeah.
think this is another one of those things where people may feel like, there's something wrong with us, we're the only ones who are experiencing this. But I think this is a very common experience for a lot of couples and a lot of marriages. So I do want to just say that, like, I don't think this is a unique situation. I mean, it's unique for you guys, but like in the grand scheme of other relationships,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people really struggle with this type of
When
thing.
I talk a lot about pushing back against what culture says, but one of the again cultural portrayals of marriage is this, right? They like they get married and then they don't want to touch each other and they don't want to be, and I think that highlights the idea that other people are thinking about that.
Right.
And I think the difference between what we are going to say and what culture would say is culture tells you that you just have to accept that. That's what marriage is, which is not what we would believe. But it highlights the idea that like this is a common conversation. Right?
Right. Yeah.
Did you want to go or?
If you have something, you can go first.
I don't know if I have something, but I'm an external processor, so
Right,
we'll
yeah.
figure it out as we go.
Oh, yeah.
I think the first thing that jumped to my brain is that bad? I want to answer that in two ways. The first way that I want to answer it is just the language of that implies that you're feeling shame about it. And I don't believe it's bad in that way. I don't believe it's bad like you should be ashamed of yourself. I am just taking a leap, and I'm really sorry to this man if this is... Oh, no, my husband. Okay. Just as the woman writing it. Okay. Good. I was like, this looks like a woman's handwriting.
I'm going to make assumptions, but
I'm assuming that this is a woman. I think especially, and Kimmy, you can back this up, I think especially for women, especially women who were raised in the church, there was an expectation pushed upon them that they're bad wives if they don't constantly offer themselves up to their husband. And I think I just feel the undertones of that. Is that bad? There's this shame of like, if I don't want to like be intimate with my husband tonight, that I'm failing him as a wife. I don't know if you want to jump into that or like acknowledge that, or if you have any thoughts.
no, I think that is especially, yes, for girls and then young women who grew up in church. It's not blatantly said, but that is just kind of like an undercurrent. That is just kind of like an unsaid thing. I think also like with the whole purity culture thing too, like all of us were told we have to wait and then it's going to be amazing. Which it can be, but I think it takes a while to become amazing. And there's, I think, yeah, a lot of, especially on women, I think some unfair expectations are put on them once they become wives in regards to like the sexual relationship they have with their husband. And so I think that's totally fair. Like to say like, this could also be something that's experienced where it's like, I just don't want to all the time. But like I was told like, or I felt like as a wife, I just need to like always be in the mood, you know? So I think that's very possible.
So I guess I just want to like shame. If you want to know what will tank your sex life most, shame is one of those things that just like destroys it. And I think there's a lot of things obviously that can cause that, but I sense the undertones of that, right? Like, is that bad? You know, there's this shame of like, if I'm not in the mood, I'm failing. And I just want to acknowledge that like shame will torpedo your sex life. And so we had to find ways to remove that. And I think, again, we're making some assumptions that maybe are not fair, but this is our experience. So this is what we'll talk about is both of us grew up as church kids. And just like you said, we grew up in a purity culture world. We were like in the heart of that. Our youth group time was like right in the middle of that. That again, like it's less explicit. Sometimes it was, but there's a lot of subtle things. So there's subtle things about like Kimmy said, like nothing. Sex is bad. There's some shame about your body. You feel weird about your body. And then when you get married, they're like, now everything's fair game, go. And you literally you spent your whole life being taught that it's wrong and bad. And then all of a sudden, literally overnight, you're told like, now it's not bad, go. And again, attached to that was, if you wait, it will be incredible. Your sex life will be incredible if you wait. And so, the way that Kimmy and I have internalized that is that's true. If you wait, it will be incredible, but it's incredible because you get to learn everything together. But you do have to learn everything together, you know? And so there's a beauty in that we're figuring it out together, and that's wonderful. And that's been one of our favorite things about being married together is learning and figuring each other out. But there's some shame that comes with that because we thought it was just going to be amazing from day one. And so again, I'm reading a line into this, but I feel this. If this is a Christian kid like us, I feel this where there's this expectation that everything's going to be great, and then you get married and you're like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. And then it's, well, now I don't really want to. And so then there's shame. And for the guy, the lie that culture tells guys all the time is like, you have to be good at sex. And if you're not good, you know what I mean? Like you fail if you're not. And so then there's shame, like, oh, she doesn't want to. It's probably because I'm not good at it. And then there's this cycle of shame that comes. And so, I don't know if that's your story, but if your story's like, I mean, that's the script that's easy to write. And so bad shame, I want to remove that. If there's a way you can get past shame and just talk to each other, I think that's a really important thing. And I think that's the pathway back for this. So, but the second way of bad, of like, is it bad that we don't have sex very much? Bad is not the term I'd want to use, but I want to acknowledge, I really believe that a healthy sex life is an important part of a marriage. Like the Bible literally talks about like, hey, don't withhold sex from your spouse is like a punishment. You know what I mean? Like, don't do that. Like, this is an important part of connection. This is an important part of a marriage. And so, bad in that sense of like, yes, I do think you need to figure that out. I don't think you can just like go your whole life and have a really wonderful, healthy marriage without figuring that out. So, we got to remove shame, but also, figure it out. And so I think I kind of jumped into this a little bit, but I think it is not when you're in bed, find another time to like talk about it. Can we clear the room here? Let's talk about this. Like this doesn't feel like we're happy with the way this is going. And so let's talk about it. Here's how I'm feeling. How are you feeling? And just get to the bottom of maybe why you're feeling that way, why you're struggling to connect. Sometimes, again, it's not even about what the actual sex. Sometimes it's about like, I'm struggling to connect with you in our marriage. And so then I don't want to have sex with you because I don't feel connected to you. And you could discover that, but it has to be that kind of conversation. And sometimes it is about just like the actual sex life. And you're like, I don't know, like this is just like not, but you have to talk about it, but it's not helpful to talk about it while it's happening. So it's got to be like a separate time. I don't know if you got anything to add.
Yeah, it's hard to feel that connection.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think talking about it is again I know talking about it can be hard, but I think it really matters. And I just wonder, to me, like I wonder if what the expectation status is here.
Yes.
Is there even an expectation here, or has something been internalized? And even that alone, like you need to talk about that, because maybe her husband isn't bothered by this. I don't know. Like maybe, I think it's just so important to like just kind of work out like, yes, I'm feeling this certain expectation. Why am I feeling it? And talking with your partner about it as well. And maybe there is an expectation there, and you guys can talk about expectations and what you both want or what you both need or what you don't want or don't need. I just think it's really important to talk about those kinds of things, because I believe that's really the only way it's going to get better, is if you can come to a place where you can talk about that kind of stuff. Again, not in the moment.
Yeah, because that can bring a lot of shame.
Because that can also just, really ruin everything. But I think it's just important to understand where each other's coming from and hear each other out, and without making the other person feel ashamed or guilty or bad. So it's hard. It's really hard, and I really feel for you that this is your experience right now. But I really would encourage you to try to just talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And also spend some time even on your own, maybe just trying to process your own feelings about this as well. probably even before you go into trying to talk about it, figure out, just what is going on internally on this issue first, as best you can, and then talk to your spouse about it.
Yeah. And again, I'm making assumptions.
Yeah.
These are church kids like us.
Yeah.
So maybe
They may not be. Yeah.
But again, if this is church kids, I think I'm really passionate about this because of our own journey experience, right? Like the other part of that is not just again, like talking about sex was like such a no.
That was just as forbidden as actual
So
sex.
then you get married and you're struggling and you don't even know how to talk about it because you don't want to speak about those things. And so anyway, I know that it could be challenging, but getting past that. And I just want to be really frank, like Kimmy and I have had to talk about things and have conversations about exactly this kind of stuff. Just like, how do we, what do we both want? What do we both need? Talking those things through. And so I guess I just want to acknowledge again, like, I think your experience is not unique to you. But the way through it is conversation and figuring out what's the root of it. Because again, it might not even have anything to do with your sex life. Maybe it's you're struggling to connect with people. And that's part of
external things.
We want to believe that sex is just a physical thing, but it is like a whole everything. And so like if you are not connecting with each other normally, especially stereotypically, I think it's true for guys more, but stereotypically it's true for women, that if you're not feeling connected to your husband during the day, it's hard for you to connect sexually with him at night. And so maybe it's not even related to like what's happening at night. It's just like, I'm sure. And so, but you can't figure any of that out unless you talk about it. So is it bad? We've got to take shame out of it. So we're not going to put shame on you. You don't need to feel ashamed. I think this problem is more common than you probably feel like it is. And you're not alone in that. So take the shame out. Is it bad? Take that shame out. Is it bad for your marriage to never have sex? You probably need to figure that out. You probably need to figure out, like, I shouldn't laugh. I don't mean to make a joke. But I do think it's important that you figure out how to connect with each other, because your marriage will struggle to flourish if you don't come to an agreement and figure that out. So, but to Kimmy's point, every relationship's different. For some people, they need to have more connection sexually, and others don't need it as often. And every relationship's different too. So there you go. What a way to end it.
There we go.
Awesome. Well, if we did not get to your question, man, feel free. I know you'd be happy if somebody just came up to you and was like, "Hey, answer this question."
Or even if I answered your question, you want to talk more about it.
Yeah. Maybe we thought of it in a different route than what you were actually thinking of it to be.
Yeah.
Come talk with Nathaniel about that question. And so with that, man, what's next?
Next, we have a series leading up to Easter about the Passion Week. So we're going to walk through the life of Jesus, kind of the last week that he walked on earth. Really looking forward to that, and leading up to, of course, Easter Sunday.
Let's go.
And Good Friday and all that. So.
Whoa.
Well, awesome. Well, hey,
can I just pray?
Yes, absolutely.
I just feel like that we should do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I do that before you wrap it up? Okay. God, thanks so much for this conversation and for all the questions and for the people represented by all these note cards. I am feeling the weight right now, God, of knowing that in my humanness, I am not able to rise to solve all of these problems or answer all these questions for myself. But I know that you are God, and you know. And so, Lord, I guess my prayers for all the people who are represented by these cards, whether it's the person that wrote it or the person who's in a relationship with that person. I just pray that you would bring them peace and encouragement today. Pray that they would be able to sense your spirit walking with them. I pray that you would help them to see just the one next step that you might have for them. I pray that you would protect marriages and draw people back together. I pray that you would bring reconciliation and healing out of brokenness. I pray that you would banish shame wherever you find it. And I just pray, Lord, that we would have stories to share celebrating the work that you've done through conversations. And I hope these people know how deeply loved they are by us and by you. God, we love you. In your Son, Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, it's so good to be with y'all for the series recap. Thank you for watching. If you like this, like it, and comment down below. Any questions that you may also still have if you're feeling brave, or you can just come and talk to Nathaniel. That also works too. Either way, it's so good to be with y'all. And like always, we love y'all. We'll see y'all next time.
See ya.
Peace.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Series Recap. The Series Recap exists to encourage people at Hope Community Church to continue to engage with their faith and their formation even after Sunday is over. Our hope is that we can keep formational ideas and concepts in front of us during the week to help redirect our attention back to Jesus as we learn to practice the way of Jesus. We'll see you guys next time. God bless.